if you're only eating sugar, you're not getting the vitamins, you're not getting the minerals, you're not getting the essential fatty acids that you need, you're not getting the protein that you need. We could debate whether or not you need fiber in the diet, but we probably won't go there at the moment. So I'm going to guess that within a reasonably short time you're going to die. The question is, can you survive 30 days?
So, Pete, would you be considered a sweet tooth?
Would I consider myself a sweet tooth?
Yes.
Well, I would say a little bit of, I would say yes and no. I'm not one of those guys where you, after dinner, they're like, hey, what's for dessert? Or I would never order a dessert. And if somebody offered me cake or sweets or whatever, I probably wouldn't take it. But if there's a bowl of candy on the table, or if I'm in a store where there's chocolate bars, I just can't get enough of chocolate.
Yeah. I've never been known for my self-discipline. That wouldn't be something that would be on my Wikipedia page if I had one. I've been known to, I have my kryptonites. So, I've been known to eat a cheesecake, for instance.
A cheesecake, a whole cheesecake, a slice, or you mean a slice?
You heard my answer. But obviously we deal with in hypotheticals here at what if. And it does sound initially when you say, what if you ate only sugar for a month? Well, that's a wild hypothetical, except for the period we're in now, which is kind of smack dab in the middle of that time where it's very possible for people to eat sugar every day, which is, of course, the holidays.
Yeah, this is when everybody is buying extra chocolate to put on the tables to hand out. People are coming to your door. Here's some chocolate. There's baked goods coming out of the oven seemingly every half hour and bowls of candy on every. It's kind of a great thing.
It's a built-in excuse, which we love. So as a public service that we are doing for the What If community, we thought we would ask, what if you ate only sugar for a month? And of course, that isn't something that most people would have a lot of knowledge about. And you would really want to talk to somebody who's really done a lot of research around the specific issue of sugar. So we are very fortunate to be joined by the New York Times bestselling author of The Case Against Sugar, Gary Taubes. Gary, thanks for joining us today on What If Discussed.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me.
So, as we talked about, pros and cons of a 30-day sugar diet. I'm going to guess there's not a lot of pros. We'll get to that in a second. But let's get back to the seminal book, The Case Against Sugar. What was your ultimate conclusion? Was sugar guilty?
Well, why write the book if you don't think so? And I copped to that in the beginning. The argument I'm making in the book, we've never had a period of our history where, for instance, parents didn't think they had to ration their children's sugar consumption, right? So there's always been this concept of too much sugar has always been out there. But what does too much sugar do was the question. And what I'm addressing particularly is we have epidemics of obesity and diabetes worldwide. Whenever any population in the world transition from whatever their traditional diet is, it could be anything from an agrarian diet in Southeast Asia to a animal diet with the Inuit and the Maasai in Africa, and they transition to eating Western diets, they get obese and diabetic. You have explosions of obesity and diabetes. And the argument is that what happens is they just eat too much and they become sedentary. And that's why you get these epidemics. And the counter argument is that it's sugar particularly that causes it, not because of the calories in the sugar, but because of you could think of it as the hormonal effects of consuming sugar, the way your body responds to sugar differently than other foods. And I just was lucky as a journalist, or unlucky as a journalist. I get to spend about 10 years of my life studying this question. And it's clear that sugar should be considered uniquely harmful. And the way I put it, if I was a district attorney, I could get an indictment effortlessly. I'm not sure I could get a conviction because we've never actually done the studies that would allow you to say what I believe without reasonable doubt.
Well, yeah, like you say, it does seem to be a bit of an open and shut case. But if the jury is still out on sugar, it's ultimately because of the inability to get more than circumstantial evidence against the sweet stuff. Why is that?
Well, the conventional wisdom, again, is that the problem with sugar is we just eat too much of it. To empty calories. You've all heard that phrase, right? It's got empty calories. So if you have a lot of sugar in your diet, you have to get the vitamins and minerals and protein and fiber and essential fatty acids from other foods. So then you're going to overeat those and you're going to get obese. And once you get obese, that's going to, be the trigger of diabetes. So there's this whole mindset. In the book, I refer to it as the gift that keeps on giving, which is the reason you get fat is because you eat too much. You take in more calories than you expend. And the worst you could say about sugar is that we like it too much.
We're going to take a quick break here on What If Discussed. More with the author of The Case Against Sugar, Gary Taubes. On the other side, you are watching and listening to What If Discussed.
We want to take just a moment to tell you about today's sponsor, The Great Courses Plus.
A streaming service we're both really big on.
Yeah, that's right. We've been watching and learning a lot during the pandemic. I've been looking into a new course they've got online called Mathematical Brain Teasers and Logic Puzzles. I love learning about other languages or about Ireland or photography was another one that I did. But also sometimes I just want to stretch my brain out and I don't know, just go for a workout on my brain.
Yeah, good. The old brain workout. I'm a big puzzle person. Love the jumble. Love the crossword.
Sudoku?
No, not so much.
Why not?
It's just I'm not a math person.
It's not math. It's 1 to 9.
I'm not a smart person.
I'll give you some tips. I've got some tips for you on Sudoku. Regardless, the Great Courses Plus has thousands of lectures on almost any topic imaginable, from astrophysics to learning to speak Spanish. And new courses are coming up all the time. There's something for everyone. Plus, every course is presented by experts from top universities and institutions. And you can watch or listen from your phone or your TV with the Great Courses Plus app,
which helps me prepare for What If Discussed. So for instance, today we were talking about what if you ate sugar for a month straight. So where do I do my research? GreatCoursesPlus.com. How Sugar and Salt Shape World History, lecture number 12 from the course Food Science and the Human Body. They got everything here.
I'm glad you're doing all the research for this because
somebody's got to, Peter.
It does make a difference. The Great Courses Plus is offering fans of our show this amazing deal, an entire month of access free. This limited time offer won't last long. Sign up today. Go to thegreatcoursesplus.com/whatif. Don't wait. Go to thegreatcoursesplus.com/whatif. One more time. It's thegreatcoursesplus.com/whatif. Now back to the show. So, Gary, you sort of outlined what happens to the body when you eat sugar, what goes on inside you with all those oses happening. But what if you only ate sugar for 1 month, for 30 days? That's our what if this week. What would happen, Gary? I can't imagine you'd be in great shape after 30 days.
If you're only eating sugar, you're not getting the vitamins, you're not getting the minerals, you're not getting the essential fatty acids that you need, you're not getting the protein that you need. We could debate whether or not you need fiber in the diet, but we probably won't go there at the moment. So I'm going to guess that within a reasonably short time, you're going to die. The question is, can you survive 30 days?
Yeah, and we don't recommend you try this at home unless, obviously, you're part of that experiment that Gary's talking about. Gary, we want to talk about a whole bunch more, especially a big part of the case against sugar was outlining how science was used to or misused, let's say that, to be able to make the case for sugar and against fat. We'll get to that on the other side in the audio version. But this, I don't know. I'm just speculating that the research and going down this particular rabbit hole for years got you to better understand nutrition in general. Hence, the case for keto, your new book. Is that kind of how you arrived there?
There's about 90 clinical trials in process right now testing the ketogenic diet on virtually every ailment you could imagine, because often it works very well when they do these tests on beginning with childhood epilepsy, but obesity and diabetes. And there are studies looking at it for depression and the cognitive disorders, and you name it, they're there. So anyway, that's sort of the my first book, Good Calories, Bad Calories in the United States, looked at all of this history and all of this bad science and proposed this idea that the problem with modern diets, as these British nutritionists believe, is the carbohydrate content, the refined grains and sugars, which has now kind of been accepted. And fat was benign. And when you restrict the carbs and you allow people to eat fat, now you're eating a ketogenic diet. And there's a huge movement, actually, particularly in Canada. There's a Facebook group in Canada. I use this to sort of quantify how many physicians have bought into this. So a Facebook group in Canada of women physicians who eat low-carb, high-fat diets. And there's about 40,000 women physicians in Canada, and there's about 4,000 on this Facebook group, which suggests that 1 in 10 women physicians in Canada alone have embraced a way of eating that until very recently was considered virtually malpractice to prescribe to your patients.
Well, the case for keto is being made. Let's say that. And that book is available right now as of what? I think a couple of days ago. Yep. So if you are somebody, if you're somebody that's been considering a keto diet, or certainly somebody who wants to understand just more about health and eating, highly recommend Gary's book, The Case for Keto. Gary, can you stick around for a few more questions?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Amazing. If you want to hear more from investigative science journalist and best-selling author Gary Taubes, click on the link below and you can listen to the full audio podcast of the show. If you're already listening to us, well, we'll be back right after the break. Gary, where can people learn more about what you're doing right now?
Well, I have a website that I don't keep up, GaryTaubes.com. And every time I have a new book that comes out, my friends say, you've really got to put more information on your website. I tweet to Gary Taubes, at Gary Taubes, and those would be the two primary places. The book is available everywhere fine books are sold, which is Amazon and, as far as I can tell, 3 bookstores that are still open.
Good one. Well, for those of you who are ready to come along with us on this sweet ride some more, click on the link below. And if you're done with us for today, well, thanks for joining us on What If Discussed.